Today we're looking at the brand new ICON Elsinore helmet, and guys, this thing takes me back. When I first started my Chaseontwowheels channel, I was rocking out the ICON variant. You can actually see my original one there in the background. And that's really the helmet I was using when this whole YouTube thing really got kicked off. So when I saw that ICON was coming out with a cool new, that whole, I don't know, retro futuristic vibe, I don't know what to call it, but that's what we're gonna go with. When I saw that they were coming out with something like that, I knew I had to get my hands on one. The only question I have is this a legit riding helmet or just something cool you buy to show off on Instagram? Today, we're gonna find out. And guys, this video is not sponsored, but if you want to support the channel and you appreciate the stuff we do here, we are actually giving away this 2026 Aprilia Tuono 660 factory over at on2garage.com. That's our website. If you guys want to enter that giveaway, all you gotta do is go over there, get a membership, get merch, whatever you do, get you entries to win this thing, and you could be getting yourself a new motorcycle. So if you guys want to support the channel, that goes a long way to help us create the content that you guys enjoy. But let's check out this helmet. So the ICON Elsinore is selling for around $275, and it's a fiberglass composite shell with DOT certification here in the States. It comes in multiple graphics, uses ICON's Hydra Dry liner, and features a removable mask-like front that gives it that Mad Max meets Star Wars vibe. Inside, you've got an intermediate oval fit, 8 intake vents, 2 exhaust ports, and an optional helm link Bluetooth pocket built into the back. Weight comes in around mid 3-pound range, so it's not crazy light, but right in the ballpark for a street helmet. Now, to put this helmet into perspective, let's compare it to a few other helmets in its general price range. First, we got the Shoei RF 1400 coming in at a price tag of $549, a weight of 3.55 pounds. It's going to be heavier but far quieter with a premium interior. Next up, we got the HJC RFA 71, price tag $479, weight's 3.25 pounds. It's going to have better noise isolation and better airflow control. Next up, we got the Scorpion EXO R1 Air, price tag $429, weight of 3.13 pounds. It's going to be lighter, racier, but not as visually unique. Then we got the Bell Qualifier DLX with MIPS. Price tag is going to be $289, a weight of 3.5 pounds. It's got a similar price, a better build, and it's got extra safety tech. And then of course we have our helmet we're reviewing today, the ICON Elsinore, $275, around 3.5 pounds. It's got that wild retro styling, modular mass design, and it's only DOT. So yeah, as you guys can see, the Elsinore sits a little cheaper than a lot of the helmets that we compared it to, but it looks like you're paying more for the looks than for the performance or the features. Fit-wise, I think this helmet is right in the middle of the road, though I will say it fit my head totally correctly. There were no pressure points or anything like that. Overall, the helmet does feel a little small, and I noticed that when I had the front shield closed, it felt a little claustrophobic. And I don't know if that's because it's a modular helmet that was really close to my face or that I didn't have a visor, but something in there felt really tight for me the first couple times I went for a ride. It was kind of weird. There was no pressure points this time, but I felt a little claustrophobic, like the mask was just getting really close to me. That being said, there's not a lot of space in front of your face, so maybe that was going towards that. Overall, fitment was totally fine. The padding on the inside of the helmet is a little firmer than I would like it to be, but I would say it's like middle of the road padding with no real major issues. One of the things that I was surprised to see on this helmet when I removed the padding to install my cardo unit that we're going to talk about later in the video, I noticed this fakey carbon fiber looking stuff on the inside. I don't know if it's real carbon fiber or not, but it adds this kind of like wall to the inside of the helmet, and I don't know why, but it gave it like a cheap vibe to me. I can't really explain it. It's just when I compared that to all the other helmets I've been wearing, I have never seen this kind of like carbon fiber wall or carbon fiber wall. Kind of weird. I'll note some more stuff about that later in the build quality part, but just had to bring that up because when I saw it, I was like, wait, what is this? Okay, so let's talk about build quality and durability. I gotta say, when you pick this helmet up and you're handling it, that's kind of my build quality test. I want to feel how solid this helmet feels. This thing creaks a lot. Now, it could be because this is not a full face helmet, though it looks like it's a full face helmet. It's actually a modular helmet, and that front area can open, and that front area is not rated for impact. You can see little images that ICON has all over this helmet showing you that this is a 3/4 helmet with a front shield piece. They got little helmet with X's on it all over this thing, but that is not meant for safety. We're going to talk about safety later in this video, but as far as durability and build quality, this is a 3/4 helmet, so it's not going to feel as durable as a full face helmet, and you are definitely going to be able to feel that. One of the other things that I noted while I was messing with this helmet was when I was installing my Cardo unit, I had to remove one of the cheek pads to get the boom arm for the microphone of the Cardo. And I noticed when I pulled one of the push pins to get the padding on the left side out, it was kind of hard to pull, and I kept pulling on it, and eventually it popped off like it should, but I noticed that fake carbon fiber started flexing as well. And once I popped the other side off, I investigated the situation and noticed that that fake carbon fiber looking stuff was actually pulling away from the shell. Now, this could have been just the unit that I had and it was a weird defect or something like that, but it does worry me a little bit for long-term durability when all I was doing was something that is very routine on a helmet, and that's removing cheek pads, and just the force of removing the cheek pad was removing this face facade on the side of the helmet on the inside. Kind of worries me a little bit. It just seemed like the glue was like undoing. I don't really know. I'm not a helmet scientist. Just review the helmets. Now, final note on build quality, I guess part of fitment as well, is the chin strap on this helmet. Now, when I put this helmet on and I get the helmet exactly where it's supposed to be, where my ears fit in the right pockets and all this kind of stuff, I notice when I do the chin strap feels like it's farther back on my neck than most helmets. Almost every helmet, the chin strap will go right along the middle of my jaw area, but for whatever reason, the Elsinore pushes it back a little bit and almost touches my neck. So that was a little strange. I tried to manipulate how I had the helmet on, but if I rotated the helmet backwards to get the chin strap here, it felt like the helmet was way off and my chin was like poking out from under the helmet. So I don't know if that's my head shape and jaw issue or if that's the helmet. If any of you guys have an Elsinore, let me know if it fits you the same with the chin strap. I'm really curious about that. Next up, let's talk about the mask/visor system on the Elsinore, because that's kind of what makes it the Elsinore. So visibility wise, when you have the mask shut, it kind of looks like you're wearing a pair of goggles. You don't have as wide a field of view horizontally or vertically as you would on a full face helmet, because it honestly looks like you're wearing goggles. It has little pieces that come in around and stuff like that. The visibility is fine, the visibility through the actual visor itself, but you're just gonna have a little things in your peripheral view. Now, as far as the mechanism of opening and shutting it, that's where I have a bit of an issue. It opens super easily. Maybe too easily. There's no mechanism that actually locks it down. Take another modular helmet like I have, like my Schuberth E2. When I shut that helmet, there is a locking mechanism where the helmet is locked. And if I want to open the helmet, I have to press a little red button and it will actually open the modular part of the helmet. The Elsinore doesn't have anything like that. You literally just press forward and the whole front will open up. Now, I could easily see if somebody got into a wreck and their face hit the ground first, I could easily see that whole front popping open or just shearing off from the impact of a motorcycle accident. And for me, that's a really big no-go in the safety department. I also noticed when I was messing around with the helmet and getting stuff installed on it, just checking out the overall build quality, that it had a little weird thing where if I shut the helmet and I held the mask directly in the middle and I shut it, it would shut fine. But I noticed that if I held it from the left or the right and shut it and didn't shut it completely perfectly, it would actually be cockeyed to the side a little bit and would get locked in place, and I would have to open it and shut it from right in the middle again. So it had that little weird situation where like you had to shut it right from the middle or else it would kind of get sideways on you. Overall, I think the mask thing is kind of cool, but it just kind of feels like ICON spent more time on the way it looks than the way it functions. Next up, let's talk about wind and stability, because it is a helmet with a peak, and that always gets me kind of worried about how it is going to be in the wind. Now, when I rode this thing on the highway, I was surprised that the peak did not create any like upward lift with the helmet. I was really, trying to feel for that, and I even looked up a few times to see if wind would kind of catch the helmet and pull it up, and I didn't have any issues there. I did notice that while looking straight down the road, the helmet does seem to bobble a bit while I'm on the highway. I did most of my testing on my Yamaha MT-10, which is a naked motorcycle, which means I've got the most wind on me possible. One of the surprising things I did notice is when I did head checks to the left and to the right, I really expected this helmet to kind of catch the wind and like yank my head sideways, and I didn't have that issue at all. So my only kind of problem with the wind and stability of the helmet is the lack of stability while going at high speeds. High speeds I would kind of call over 50 miles an hour. That's where I could start to feel the helmet bobbling a little bit. So I don't think aerodynamics are totally thrown out the window. It's just not the most stable helmet on the market, but it could be way worse with a peak like that. Next up, let's talk about ventilation, and the primary vents that you're going to be noticing while you're riding in it is those front vents by the mouth area on the helmet. So they're going to flow a decent amount of air, and I definitely know this because the day I had to go test this was 35 degrees outside, so I am super well aware of where the air is coming in on that helmet. Now, I will say the toggle on the inside of the helmet, which is where you can open and close those vents, it feels a little on the cheaper side. It doesn't click in super nicely, and it just doesn't feel like an overall high quality vent open and shut mechanism, but it never opened on its own, it never closed on its own. It just didn't have a solid like rail feel, if that makes sense. Now, I will note, like I said, when I tested this, it was in very cold conditions, and I could feel the air, but I'm a little worried for this helmet in the summertime because the air is decent coming in through those vents, but it's at your mouth level. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm one of those guys where it's hot outside, I'm almost like sunglasses on with my visors all the way open. I like it to be a Typhoon level 3 inside my helmet to keep me cool while I ride when it's hot outside. In this helmet, I'm a little worried because you have no visor to do a little crack or fully open. You just have to either have the vents here open or you have to have the whole modular thing open. And I don't think a lot of you guys want to ride around with the ICON Elsinore with it fully open. That's just not the vibe I see a lot of guys wanting this style helmet to be riding in. And those vents I do not think are going to flow enough air for somebody in the summertime. So it's okay for cold rides, but I would be sweating bullets in July. Alright guys, next up we have the audio test of this helmet to test out how loud it is while you guys are riding in it. If this is your first helmet review you've seen from us, here's how we do this. I get a little microphone, I put it in the front of the helmet, and we go city speeds and we go highway speeds. Then we take that microphone, we put it at my ear level so you guys can hear exactly what your ear is going to be hearing. We do those same city speeds and we do highway speeds, and you guys can be the determination of what it sounds like. So let's get to the testing. Alright, so guys, that's our testing, and I just want to be super clear with this. This is the loudest helmet that I have ridden in of all the helmets we have done testing on. It seems like the volume of the air around the helmet gets the loudest at 50 miles an hour plus. Anything under 50 is not really that bad, you're not going fast enough, but over 50, it is got a lot of audio going on. You can hear a ton of things, and it was to the point where it was uncomfortable to ride over 50 miles an hour without earplugs. I don't recommend you ride without earplugs, period, but this is a helmet that I would urge you do not ride in. without earplugs, especially if you're going to be going over 50 miles an hour. Next up, let's talk about visibility on this helmet through the visor. Now, we've already talked about how the viewport is kind of goggle-like, but we haven't talked about the actual view through that. So I found that seeing through it is actually pretty clear, had no problems with that at all. The only issue I have with the visibility is that, like I told you guys, I was testing this on a colder day, and because of the way the visor is on this helmet, there's no way to have any sort of pin lock system, and if I was ever not moving on this helmet, it started fogging up, and getting foggy on the visor made it hard to see. And with there being no ability to have a pin lock on there, that's a major issue if you're going to be riding in really cold conditions or maybe commuting in the morning or something like that. You're gonna run into this issue where you might even have to like open the entire face shield just to be able to see, and I don't love that. Next up, let's talk about installing a Bluetooth device on this helmet. You guys know I am not riding without a Cardo in a helmet. By the way, if you want to get a discount on a Cardo, it's my favorite absolute Bluetooth device for helmets. I install them on every one of the helmets I do reviews on. So on this helmet, I installed my Cardo Pack Talk Pro, and the overall install process was super simple. I did notice the side of the helmet was a little curvy, but luckily the mounting plate for the Pack Talk Pro kind of bends a little bit, and I could get it bent around, and it has not popped off at all ever since then. I will note that on the inside, there is a speaker cutout by your ears, which is super nice, and it has plenty of wire routing area, so that way wires aren't like touching against your head. And a lot of the helmets I've been reviewing lately, they actually have Velcro on the inside of that little cutout area. The Elsinore does not have that, but luckily Cardo includes a little Velcro sticky patch that you can put on the left and the right side on the inside. So I ended up installing those and have had no problem. The speakers fit in there perfectly well, and I really appreciate all the extra wire routing areas on the inside of the helmet. I'm assuming this is for some sort of integrated comms unit for the Elsinore, but the very back in the middle of the helmet at the bottom has this whole little plate area that you can open up and use that area to kind of like stuff wires into. I ended up using that to stuff all the extra Cardo wires, and it made the install process super freaking clean. I need to do more research if ICON has their own comms unit or something like that, because a helmet doesn't have a random pocket for no reason. Also noting on the sound quality, this is one of those helmets that when you're listening to music in this helmet, you can hear it very loudly. It can almost drown out all of the wind noise that the helmet has. So props to the people who are looking to listen to their music very loud in this thing. Final thing I'll note about the Cardo setup with this helmet is because it is a modular helmet, you're not going to be able to have that really thin Cardo microphone. You're actually going to have to use the Cardo boom arm for their mic. I just put it on the inside of the cheek pads and I curl it out, and it seemed to work so far so good. Next up, let's talk about moto vlogging with the Elsinore, and in my opinion, this is a no-go helmet for moto vlogging. So first off, there is all the vents on the front of the helmet, and in order to use my clamp-on motovlogging setup, you would have to cover up the actual vent switch for the front. And it's a very tight area to do that in. You don't have a lot of area in between your mouth and the front of the inside of the helmet. So you don't want to cram that even more with a helmet clamp. Also, if you guys look on the inside of the mask area, those vents looking like fish gills and all from the inside, there's nowhere to really put a microphone on the inside, and a big deal of moto vlogging is talking to the camera. So if nobody can hear you talking, you can't mount a microphone in there, it's a little problematic. Now, yes, I guess if you really wanted to use this as a moto vlogging helmet and you had a Cardo, you could use that boom arm that I use on the Cardo and just kind of tape a microphone mic to the Cardo microphone, and that way it would kind of work, but that would be a really janky setup, and I really don't like motovlogging with helmets that have a very little amount of space between my mouth and the back of the helmet. It just feels real claustrophobic for my mouth, and I don't find the audio sounds good in a situation like that. At the end of the day, you can make any helmet a motovlogging helmet, but me personally, I would never go to this helmet for that. That's if you just take all that information, but then you got the flip upness, so there's not real stability there. You've got the audio being very loud, it's not gonna sound great. It's just got a lot of things working against it that's not gonna make it great for motovlogging. Guys, the next thing we got to talk about is a pretty big deal, and that is safety. And the big elephant in the room is the fact that this is a 3/4 helmet. I don't want you guys to see this helmet, see the front kind of moving around, and think that your chin is protected at all. Your chin is fully exposed in this helmet. And if you look at a helmet crash chart, the percentage of people that hit damage in the chin part of the front area on a helmet is very high. I don't want to misquote it, but I'm pretty sure it's 15% here, 16% here. That means 30% of helmet impacts are in the chin area. I actually had a buddy I was talking to recently tell me about a friend that he had. They were out riding one day and he wore a 3/4 helmet. My buddy wears a full face helmet. He got in a wreck and the 3/4 helmet hit his jaw, and he had to get his jaw reconstructed because he had a 3/4 helmet on. Now, for small, low-speed urban riding or messing around in a parking lot, sure, this is fine. But for serious riding, commuting, canyon carving, doing anything serious, I cannot recommend riding in a helmet like that, because I just believe in full safety on a helmet. And if your chin's not protected, you're asking for a lot of danger. At the end of the day, you guys are gonna ride in whatever you want to ride in, but just keep that in mind when you're choosing a helmet, and make sure you choose the right helmet for the right style of riding that you're doing. All right guys, so let's see how the ICON Elsinore does on the chase score. For comfort and fit, I'm gonna give it a 6. The fit itself is fine, but the helmet feels small and slightly claustrophobic, especially around the front. The padding is firm and not particularly plush, and the overall interior gives off more of a budget feel than a refined one. Now, ventilation, I'm gonna give it a 7. The front vents actually move a decent amount of air in cold conditions, but the internal toggle feels cheap, and there's no way to crack the visor for additional airflow. It's fine for cool rides, but likely gonna run hot in the summer. For noise level, I gotta give this thing a 3. This is the loudest helmet I've ever worn. Anything above 50 miles an hour becomes uncomfortably noisy, which makes it a poor choice for highway or long distance use. For visibility, I'm going to give it a 6. The mask design restricts the field of view, making it feel like you're looking through goggles. It's usable, but not ideal, and fogging in cold temperatures makes visibility even worse. For weight, I'm going to give it a 7. The Elsinore isn't overly heavy and feels compact, but the weight balance doesn't make it feel particularly light on your head either. It's fine, just nothing special. For comp setup, I'm going to give it an 8. Installing a Cardo unit was straightforward, and the built-in rear pocket for wire management is a clever touch. The only limitation it's having is to use that boom mic due to the flip-up design. For motovlog setup, I'm going to give it a 3. This helmet is not motovlogger friendly. The moving mask prevents front camera mounting, the sides have vents that block clamps, and the wind noise would destroy your audio quality. For features, I'm going to give it a 7. The mask mechanism and the style are unique, and the overall design is bold and creative. However, the lack of the locking system and that finicky alignment keep it from feeling well engineered. For value for money, I'm going to give it a 6. At $275, the looks are incredible for the price, but the build quality, comfort, and the noise level make it hard to justify unless you're buying it purely for aesthetics. Finally, we got durability and build quality, and for this I'm going to give it a 5. The shell creaks when handled, and parts of the liner started separating during testing. It just doesn't feel robust or confidence inspiring. And guys, that's going to give a final chase score of a 58 out of 100 for the ICON Elsinore. So guys, the ICON Elsinore is one of the coolest helmets I have literally ever seen. There's no question there. It totally nails that dirt tracker vibe and gave me major variant nostalgia from the early days of the channel. But for real riding, in my opinion, it's just not there. The open face design, the noise, the build quality, it just doesn't make me feel confident in it for serious riding. That being said, I do think ICON is onto something. The look and the styling is absolutely perfect. If they took the same design language, made it a full face, increased the build quality a little bit, gave us something we could crack a visor open on, I honestly think they would have the new age ICON variant on their hands. The Elsinore feels like a concept that just needs a little more work. Give it a little more polish, better internals, and give us a full chin bar, and you'll actually have a helmet that meets all the check marks on style and performance. So while I can't recommend this for longer rides or highway use, I will give ICON props and the thing that they've probably been known the best for, and that is giving some style points back into the helmet space. And if they make a full face version of this thing, I will be the first in line to test it. So there you go, guys. The ICON Elsinore looks awesome, rides a little rough. At the end of the day, if you guys are doing low speed urban riding, I think it's totally fine. But anything serious, I am gonna push you guys towards a more full face helmet just to make sure you are safe out there while you ride. If you ride in an ICON Elsinore, please jump in the comments down below and help have the conversation down there. I tell you guys this every helmet review. I only spend a few weeks in these helmets. You guys putting thousands of miles in on them can do a lot by jumping in the comments and helping people out, because you guys might have way better experiences on them than I have. Guys, I'm Chaseontwowheels. If you guys want to grab an Elsinore or any other piece of gear, I'll have a Revzilla link in the description down below. That link doesn't cost you guys anything, but it does give me a percentage back. It's an affiliate link, and it goes a long way to help support the channel. So if you guys are ever grabbing gear, make sure to use our link to support what we're doing here. And thank you guys for watching. Hit that like button for more helmet reviews if you guys want to see them, and let me know in the comments down below, what helmet should I review next? I've only got 2 helmets left for the rest of 2025, so we gotta start making that list for 2026. Thank you guys for watching. You guys ride safe and whatever you're riding on out there, and I'll see you on the next one. Later.